your comments.
Good afternoon, council members, council president, Stan Martin, Buffalo resident. I do believe that we have some of my partners who are joining via Zoom. We can start with those who are joining remotely. Dr. Phil Gardner from the African American Tobacco Control Leadership Council, and then Claudia Rudas from the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. We'll follow him, and then we'll have our local partners speak in that order, please.
Okay, sounds good.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, I'm Dr. Philip Gardner. I'm one of the co-chairs of the African American Tobacco Control Leadership Council, and we strongly advocate for Buffalo taking a stand and getting rid of menthol and all flavored cigarettes off the market. This is no minor matter. The FDA dropped the ball in 2009 when it got rid of 13 flavors in cigarettes. The only flavor that was left in was menthol. That has existed now for 15 years. We've been trying to get off. There have been hundreds of thousands of African Americans who have died during this period. The main cause of death in the African American community are tobacco-related diseases, heart attack, stroke, and lung cancer. And all of those are precipitated by the use of menthol cigarettes. Buffalo can actually begin to remedy this problem by enacting local ordinance to stop this. Let's be clear, the whole idea that Buffalo doesn't have the ability to do that is just completely wrong. It states in the state statute and in local ordinances that Buffalo has the ability to do this. In fact, other cities around New York have done this. Look at New York City. They outlawed flavored tobacco as far back as 2009. I know people are watching. The FDA said they were going to do something last August, and they said they were going to do something in December, and they said they were going to do something at the end of in March. Here we are in April of 2024, and they still haven't done nothing. We can't wait on the FDA. I want to strongly encourage the council here to actually adopt a resolution that will prohibit the sale of menthol in the city of Buffalo. This isn't something that should be tabled or left in committee. It needs to be sent to the full city council for an up or down vote. And frankly, we would like to have a meeting of the full council to have a full discussion about this. No, people aren't going to get arrested for possession of menthol cigarettes. That's not part of the law. In the over 130 cities around the country that have passed it, not one person has been arrested for the possession of a menthol cigarette. So let's stop dealing with people are going to get arrested or that you don't have the ability to do it. Punchline here is you have the ability to save lives. Again, I'm Dr. Philip Gardner with the African American Tobacco Control Leadership Council, and we strongly advocate for the Buffalo City Council suspending and ending the sale of menthol. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Could we have the next person on Zoom, please?
Yes. Good afternoon, members of the Committee Development Committee. Thank you for this opportunity to testify today, and thank you for allowing voices in the community, both in Buffalo and abroad, to be heard. My name is Claudia Rodas, and I am here on behalf of the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. We are one of the leading advocacy organizations working to reduce tobacco use and its deadly consequences across the nation and globally. Currently, 5 states have passed a version of a restriction to the sale of flavored tobacco products. About 370 localities have restricted the sale of flavored tobacco products, all differing a little bit in their law. And over 180 localities have restricted the sale of all flavored tobacco products, including menthol cigarettes. Passing this proposed ordinance would have a dramatic impact on reducing tobacco, particularly among Black Americans and youth, and it would help curb the long-term illness, disease, and death caused by tobacco addiction. Moreover, prohibiting the sale of menthol cigarettes will help to reverse health disparities and accelerate the decline in smoking rates across the city of Buffalo. You have heard about the public health impact in the decades of the tobacco industry targeting particular populations that have spurred nicotine addiction, and there is no doubt that flavors has played a major role in that tobacco initiation. As you just heard from Dr. Gardner, the Biden administration had an opportunity to finalize a rule that would have prohibited the sale of menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars, and unfortunately, they have missed their deadline. We feel that there was no reason to delay this policy that had been studied for more than 12 years, and this change would have saved hundreds of thousands of lives. This delay allows the tobacco industry to continue its predatory targeting of Black and other communities with menthol cigarettes, resulting in 45,000 Black lives lost to smoking-related diseases every year. But you have an opportunity to make a change in your community and not wait for any type of national political will. What I ask today is, if Black lives truly matter, it's time to get rid of menthol cigarettes. It's the only flavored cigarette still on the market. I ask you to prioritize the health of Buffalo's youth and Black Americans over big tobacco by supporting and pushing forward this ordinance to full council, and join the growing number of communities across the country that have taken action to prohibit the sale of flavored tobacco products. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else from Zoom? Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm Reverend Blue from the President of Buffalo NAACP. Our office is located at 163 Broadway Avenue. And I just want to state that the NAACP nationally has supported a ban on menthol cigarettes. I just want to read just a little bit. Menthol cigarettes are a significant public health concern, particularly within the Black community. In fact, it is well established that one of the leading causes of death for African Americans is tobacco-related chronic illness. Studies show that not only does menthol lead to greater nicotine dependency, but also makes it harder to quit smoking. The targeted marketing of menthol cigarettes to Black individuals has contributed to about 77% of Black smokers using menthol cigarettes, compared to 23% of white smokers. This statistic is no accident. It is a result of decades of marketing strategies by tobacco companies. Menthol use has resulted in increasing rates of lung cancer, heart disease, and smoking among Black Americans. We look at what the tobacco industry is doing, and historically, it has targeted African Americans and minorities for decades. There's no good results from smoking. As a matter of fact, on the label of the cigarettes, there's a warning sign, hazardous to your health. If there was any product that could contribute to the health of any American, I would stand to say that tobacco smoking is good. But it is not. Not one product can help improve a life or the longevity of life. The NAACP has also canceled any type of advertisement or any type of sponsorship that the tobacco industry has tried to give the NAACP. So we stand in opposition to this. We want our council to pass a law that eliminates menthol. As it was talked about by our previous speakers, no one's going to be targeted. There will be no arrest, but we know menthol is bad. So the NAACP position is that we enact a law expeditiously to save Black lives and minority lives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Pearson Collins, and I'm honored to be before you today in the capacity of Director of Training, Development, and Support at Roswell Parks Comprehensive Care Center. I'm also a small business owner for the Race Card LLC. The primary platform is to have candid conversations about race, disparities, and discrimination. I'm a Buffalo, New York resident with deep ties in the city's East Side. Today, I would like to spend a few minutes sharing some of my own personal reflections on menthol and the profound impact that it has on my life and the work that I do. For me, tobacco can be directly traced as far back as my great-grandmother and her mother, who were enslaved and who worked on a tobacco plantation in Virginia. My relatives planted tobacco. They picked tobacco. They chewed tobacco and smoked it. My great aunts and uncles who used it went on to later die from tobacco-related diseases. You see, tobacco is so woven into the fabric of my family's history. Its deep roots can be found in our so filled with love, laughter, and a gigantic cloud of smoke so thick that I would literally get sick from overexposure. And while my aunts and uncles sat around the kitchen table, drinking pots of coffee and lighting cigarettes one after the other, my cousins, who were probably 7, 8, and 9 years of age, would steal cigarettes and go out to the back to play grown-up, unknowingly perpetuating the cycle. The consequences were dire. In the early 2000s, they all started getting sick. First, my Uncle Robert, dying from vascular disease. Next, my Uncle Wayne, lung cancer. He was 52. He had smoked since the age of 8. His pop smoked. My grandpa, who attended his own son's funeral, later died, lung cancer as well. My Aunt Debbie, breast cancer. All different sicknesses, all tobacco related. This past summer, we spent time in the Florida hospital in the ICU unit saying goodbye to my Aunt Susan. 3 packs a day, end-stage COPD, hospitalized for 9 months. 9 months of being bedbound, 9 months of being intubated, 9 months to think about her final arrangements, and to have the conversation with her daughter to change her directive from full code to do not resuscitate. These stories highlight the urgency to address smoking's wrath. One critical note, every single one of my family members preferred menthol cigarettes. Now it's time to work together towards a tobacco-free future where stories like mine are lessons learned, not dire omens of future generations. Thank you.
Thank you. Could we have the next speaker, please?
Thank you once again, Stan Martin, CEO and founder of Stan Martin Consulting. On behalf of the No Menthol Buffalo Tobacco Action Group team, we strongly encourage the Common Council, right, to end the sale of menthol flavored tobacco here in the city of Buffalo. You've heard expert testimony today and also lived experience from the impact of tobacco on individuals in this community. Tobacco is the #1 preventable cause of death. In your packets, I provided you information in the red folders that you have on the left-hand side that demonstrates from the Common Council's charter provisions to put forth such legislation to save lives. On your right-hand side of the packet, you have information that once again that shows where this type of legislation and similar has been put forth across the state of New York. I'm asking this Common Council to act boldly. You've acted boldly in the past. Recently as April of last year, 2023, with your tobacco retail license, when you strengthened, that particular legislation. This is another opportunity to save lives. This is another opportunity to put public health over the tobacco industry's profit. We've conducted our own independent evaluation, and we've discovered that over 70% of smokers and non-smokers support a ban on menthol tobacco. And that's from almost 200 respondents, and our goal is to reach 500. I provided information previously with you, and you've heard testimony from Roswell Park Cancer Institute, whereas a ban on menthol tobacco will save over 730 lives here in the city of Buffalo. 483 of those lives are African-American or those who identify with the Black diaspora. A ban on menthol tobacco will also save other marginalized communities, the LGBTQIA+ community, and also our brothers and sisters from the Hispanic and Latinx community. The science is clear. You have the capability, You have the power, you have the authority. Do you have the will to do what's morally right? And I believe that you do. So once again, on behalf of the No Menthol Buffalo Tobacco Action Group team and my partners here locally and nationally, I implore you to do the right thing for our residents here. Save Black lives, if Black lives truly matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a next speaker? Councilmember Wyatt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for all those who spoke on this very critical issue. You know, a lot of times we get in these positions and I guess we become jaded. We think that everything is good. I know recently I went to a store and they had the little packets of cigarettes that kids can eat. I remember that when I was growing up. The store had these little cigarettes that you could eat, the candy cigarettes. In recent conversation with Dr. Henry Taylor, as he's looking at how do we revitalize the Black community, you know, he talked about those issues as they relate to menthol and health disparities. And this is one of the main ones. And I don't know, it just baffles my mind when it comes to the Black community, the number of hurdles we have to overcome to get something done. And I can say this is I know I've lived it. It's always an issue. And he said the same thing. It's always an issue when it comes to our community. Things that hurt and hinder us, lead, all these things, menthol, it's always a hurdle. But any other community, when it came to saving children from overdose, when we had the crack epidemic, oh, just lock them up. There's a disparity, and it's visible that we deal with all the time. And it seems as though we can turn the blind eye. This group has been before us several times. We have one of the world-renowned institutes in the country, in the world, telling us that this is the right thing for us to do. And it seems as though we cannot get out of our way and we're being told that legally we can't do it. Well, you know what? And good thing I'm a Christian man, because I'll get some words I could say. Why not try it? Let it go to court. Let it be challenged. Because at the end of the day, our goal is to save lives. Our responsibility is for the safety and well-being of our citizens. And if the citizens in one particular community are being harmed, let's take action to do it. Let's not make excuses. We have some of the world-renowned groups in our midst saying that this is something that we should do. And we continue to say, okay, we'll kick the can down the street, down the corner, around the block until we wake up. I don't know, the woke syndrome, maybe we will never wake up, but there's a whole lot of people aren't waking up because they're dying from this very issue. So again, I want to put something forth for this council to pass, to, if it has to go to court, let it go to court. That's why we have attorneys. Let them go to court, let them fight it. Because at the end of the day, I think the lives that we're talking about are worth that fight. And if we fail at it, okay, let's try it again. But there's other frivolous things that we can take to court, like eminent domain and things like that, that don't hurt people in a certain community, but this does. And so I hope that we can put something forth as these groups have come forth and they've stood and band together on the interests of those who are marginalized over and over again, to say, let's put something forth that can help those people who are being harmed with menthol. We've taken stances to ban smoke shops and those things, and we've done that, and I'm glad my colleagues have supported it, and I hope they will support this, because I think this is just as urgent, just as important. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Rivera?
Mr. Chairman, I've met with this group a number of times, and the first thing that came to mind, and I don't know if there's an opinion yet from our law department, whether or not this council has the authority under the charter or under state law even to do what is being proposed that we do. If we did have the authority, I would certainly be one of the first ones to line up in support of banning flavored tobacco and menthol. But I certainly want to make sure that we have the authority under the charter, under state law, and that it is challenge proof. I'd like to know if there's case law, and I don't know, law department is here, and I'm not going to put you on the spot this very minute. But I certainly would like to have some advice and counsel as to whether or not we can do this. As I said, and I've met with this group and I said, if we have the authority, I would sign up certainly to ban flavored tobacco and menthol. So that's where I stand, only as one council member. Thank you.
Jared Good, Law Department. So we can definitely take that back and look into it more. I'm pretty sure we probably have some. Oh, can you hear me? Yeah, that's something that me and Karen will go back to and look into more in depth and see what we can provide you guys and take it from there.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Wyatt?
Mr. Chair, give me a timetable. I want to know what time period that you need to look at this, because I'm not going to sit here and wait for months and months and months and years and years and years. I want you to say on the record right now, what is the time period in which we're going to get some type of response?
Good afternoon, Assistant Corporation Counsel Karen Gordon. So this is something we've looked into for quite a while, maybe more than a year. And as we've previously mentioned to this council and have previously sent in some of our comments, I think, council member, we've sent some to you as well. Addressing this matter, we've made it very, well, as best as we could, we've made it clear that tobacco is a state law. It is regulated by New York State. All the laws are relevant to tobacco and menthol and vaping, they're all regulated by New York State. As of 2020 or 2021, I believe, I did send some information that indicated that New York State had amended their laws that banned menthol as a vaping, in vaping products or in vaping machines and so forth. So that's something that New York was able to do, but they were not able to ban menthol. If New York State cannot ban menthol, it's very difficult for the municipalities who do not have control over the state law to implement laws that will supersede New York State law. What I would say for now, which we did mention maybe a year ago, we have the ability to do what they call what is called a time, place, and manner. We've done that with our tobacco legislations. Maybe we can go back and look at it and see if there's any other thing that we can do again. But one of the suggestions would be under there is to take what New York State already has and also include it there. But by just the operation of law, it's already there. No one who has a smoke shop or a vape shop can sell menthol related vaping products. And that has been the law that has been passed by New York State government. As it relates to the banning of menthol, we as a municipality cannot independently do so. But we can look to New York State and encourage them to do what they've been doing, which is working hard and trying to accomplish that exact thing. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I want to, if we can look at, because they have a number of sections, section 2.1 powers includes to regulate license, occupation, and business menthol restriction could be a part of that licensing. Section 2.2, the legislative party of the city is vested in the common council restricting menthol sales will be a legislative act. There's a number of things that they reference. And if you could look at those things to see if this is valid, if we can give you a time period, you can give us a time period in which you can review that, I would appreciate that.
Yes, so let's look at, we were not given a package, but if someone can leave a package with us.
Yep.
Then we'll look into it and try to get something back to you maybe in 2 weeks' time as it relates to anything there that
How
we
about
can
we say
do.
30 days?
Perfect.
Okay,
We'll
30
see if
days.
there's anything in there that we can actually do.
Thank you. Okay.
But as I said, we have time, place, and manner.
Yep.
We have done that under the tobacco hookah, legislation we did a year ago. And if there's anything more that we can do in those perimeters, we can do. But when it comes to like a wholesale law against it, we don't have the jurisdiction to do so.
Okay, so we'll give you the packet, and if we can get back in 30 days, we certainly would appreciate it. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Councilmember Halton Pope.
Karen, if you don't mind, I just want to be clear about, so we can address time, place, and manner. The concern would be to supersede the state law, current state law, which has not banned menthol, which is still being negotiated ongoing with advocates on banning menthol, right? Am I correct?
Assistant Corp Counsel Karen Gordon, yes, you're correct. We cannot supersede state law because state law has already taken control of that area, as we've always said, right? Tobacco and hookah is done by the state law, it's legislated there, so we can't do anything that would supersede that until they've done something in Albany.
But as a municipality, we do have the ability to create laws but it would possibly open us up to a lawsuit, just to the council members' recommendation. If it finds out that we can, we still would possibly be open to potential lawsuit with the tobacco industry or others at some point possibly.
Right.
All right. My next question, thank you so much. The question that I would then have for businesses, have advocates met with the food stores in the cities of Buffalo? Have we at least tried to negotiate with them, especially in these communities that have been impacted? In the meantime, while you're looking at that, have we tried to have meetings and asking them to not sell these products in our neighborhoods and in our communities where they're killing us?
Thank you.
Mr. Martin, we'll use you as the
If you don't
contact,
mind.
okay, if that's all right?
Don't use me, but engage me. But no, seriously, no, to your question, some retailers have voluntarily, agreed or taken a stance to not sell, tobacco products. And then there are others that we've reached out to that, have, stated that, they're basically, opposed.
So in my tenure of being here just a few months, and I don't know about my colleagues since we're new, I know that I've recently had to have these food store meetings, and this was not part of the initial discussion, but I would have welcomed, and I would still welcome a conversation to invite them back in to have a further discussion if you'd be willing to, in these communities where my neighborhood, like these are my neighbors, these are my community members, where we're dying at extensive rates, at high rates, I would ask them to remove them while we're still trying to figure out what can be done. Would you be willing to attend those meetings with us?
Absolutely. I would certainly be willing, along with, the Tobacco Action Group members, to attend those meetings with, retailers. And I would encourage you all, the council, that is, to revisit the earlier ask, that is to, meet with our other partners, the Public Health Law Center, as well as council, to really, take a deeper dive into this, because of all of the resources and the information that we have indicate, especially with time, place, and manner, that the council has, the power and authority to do so. So I would strongly encourage if the council would invite the Public Health Law Center to engage in a future meeting, then that would be also an ask that I would like to put forth on the table with the time frame as well.
Mr. Chair, my concern is as in representative government, especially when it comes to business, it's important that we probably try to work more collaboratively. And I think instead of just dictating, it would be helpful if we start by first trying to work with our partners in government, our partners in the community. And as in the Ellicott District specifically, as I'm building these relationships, having these ongoing conversations, we're trying to figure out what's the middle ground. And though my first step would be, while we're trying to figure out what the laws are, what we can do on the municipal level, in addition, in conjunction with the state law, maybe just working with those food stores and those organizations and businesses. I don't want to necessarily hurt them financially, but I certainly don't want to hurt my community on a health level when we're dying at exponential rates. In full disclosure, I've spent a small portion of my time working for Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center, and it has the country's largest repository for cigarettes. And so it is something that is important to me. And it's something that I've advocated for in these chambers in a different role some years ago, both here on the city level and on the state level. And so I'd rather work in a way that's going to be helpful and not destructive, but I think that that requires having comprehensive conversations on all levels, both with the community and with businesses, so that we don't hurt business when we work together and not necessarily dictating what should be done. Thank you.
Yeah, I would just like to add, just in the interest of the conversation, that certainly, one of the things I want to highlight, a ban on menthol tobacco prevents the next generation, which is our youth, from becoming replacement smokers. What other business that you know, responsible business, kills its customers? There's a huge disparity in inequities in terms of when we look at lives lost, and a menthol ban addresses that issue. In addition to that, it helps those who want to quit. It offers them an off-ramp. It helps those who need additional resources to do so, access to those vital services that are necessary. Here in the city of Buffalo, we've done the research, we've done the science, we've done our homework. Roughly one person of African who identify with the Black diaspora dies each week. That's one mother, that's one father, that's someone who's not at the dinner table, who's not here for the holidays. Let's put a face. We just heard a testimony from someone who family has been from enslavement to today, been impacted by the scourge of tobacco use. While we're having conversations, people are dying. That's the harsh reality. People are dying here. And we have an opportunity to do something about that. Once again, this is totally preventable. So I encourage this council to once again act boldly, and let's just do our homework, and let's be deliberate, because putting profit over health is not acceptable.
Thank you. I just have two things. I'm just thinking out loud here. Number one, we put conditions on stores on a regular basis. I wonder if maybe we can add to the 30 days, checking to see with the law department if we could put a condition on that a deli or store or whatever would be not allowed to sell menthol related cigarettes or whatever in the city of Buffalo. I don't know if that would be legal or not. That's one maybe possibility. The other thing is that while the city doesn't have any jurisdiction over New York State, obviously New York State law trumps us. I think that what we could do is a resolution calling on New York State to pass the menthol ban in New York State, the Assembly, the Senate, the governor, et cetera. At least we could use our bully pulpit for that if we can't ban it in the city of Buffalo, but that would be better than nothing. And that might be something that all 9 of us could get on board. And there, unlike the other issue that we would have to ask the law department and might end up being sued or whatever by us asking New York State to do a ban on these types of cigarettes. That's completely within our purview to be able to do that. So, maybe we can take a look at that and have staff look at putting something together with as many, if not all of the council members' names on it. But of course, it would depend on the wording, et cetera. So maybe that's the first step that we could make at this point. So is there anyone else that had any comments? Mr. Rivera.
Just clarification. You said for two things, for law department to look at time, place, and manner, whether or not we can restrict delis, their
Yeah.
deli approvals. So
Yeah.
that's one thing. And the other one was the resolution.
Yeah, the resolution that would call on New York State to do the ban on these types of cigarettes.
Motion to close discussion.
Motion to close discussion, seconded by Mr. Wyatt.
Motion to table.
Motion to table, seconded by Mr. Bowman.
Item number 3, sidewalk snow removal resolution.
Motion to receive and file.
Motion is to receive and file, seconded by Mr. Farrelletto.
Mr. Chair, we'd like to remove item number 18 from the table.
Motion to take item number 18 from the table, seconded by Council Member Everhart.
Item 18, Buffalo Eclipse Consortium.
Motion to receive and file.
Motion to receive and file, seconded by Mr. Scanlon.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned, second by Mr. Rivera.